In this video, we are going to talk about top 10 hardest video games ever. So before starting this video, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for future updates. The early days of video games centered around arcade cabinets that were designed to require a continuous stream of quarters to keep progressing or to play another round. Video games were also notoriously difficult during this era, which in turn led to you spending more of your hard-earned money. When the first home consoles came about, video games were still relatively difficult, which on the one hand could be attributed to technical limitations, while on the other the devious minds of their creators. Here are 10 extremely difficult modern video games that will test your might. Number 10. The Witness. The Witness is one of the most clever and unique puzzle games of recent years. As you explore a seemingly deserted island, you'll come across a variety of different logic-based puzzles that require you to effectively move from point A to point B using a single line. What makes The Witness difficult is the sheer number of puzzles as well as the requirements for completing each one. There are rules that must be learned and applied to subsequent puzzles to progress through the game and help uncover the secret of its world. Number 9. Monster Hunter World. Monster Hunter World lit up the sales charts early last year, quickly becoming Capcom's best-selling game of all time. This was largely due to the fact it was more accessible for newer players than its notoriously obtuse predecessors. But what many newcomers also found out relatively early on is how difficult Monster Hunter games could be. Combat requires a deep understanding of the many monsters you'll encounter. Each monster has unique attack patterns that must be learned while waiting for the perfect opening to land your strike. Understanding the nuances between the 14 different weapons available to you can also pose quite a challenge, as each one has a distinct playstyle that changes how you approach each fight. Number 8. Wolfenstein: The New Colossus. In Wolfenstein: The New Colossus, it seems the enemies constantly have you in their sights, no matter where you are. To make matters more hectic, there is little indication of which direction you are being shot from. New Colossus' harder difficulties make it exponentially more demanding, as your overall health and damage are reduced, and even the lowest difficulties pose a significant challenge. Number 7. Spelunky. As we've mentioned before, Spelunky is an incredibly difficult exploration-based platformer. You'll be journeying through procedurally generated caverns in search of precious loot, all while avoiding countless enemies, traps, and obstacles. What makes Spelunky so difficult is that it preys on your greed. While the end of a level may be in sight, so too is a treasure chest that's just out of reach. But if you die, you lose everything and have to start your run over. The constant timer on each level is sure to get your nerves racing and ensures that you have to keep moving. If the timer runs out, a ghost spawns that begins chasing you out of the area, and if touched, will end your run instantly. Number 6. Celeste. Celeste is a hardcore platforming game that features a young girl named Madeline ascending a mountain while dealing with her own mental health along the way. Its core gameplay revolves around single-screen puzzles that you must platform your way through. What makes Celeste difficult is the precision required to get through each puzzle, especially as you get to the latter parts of the game. Your skill level is constantly challenged, but you'll also improve with each passing puzzle. Its difficulty feels like a steady incline throughout the entire game, pushing you just enough outside your comfort zone to progress. If you're patient enough to get through every B-side in the game as well, you'll unlock the C-sides, which are damn near impossible. Are you up for the challenge? Number 5. Dead Cells. Dead Cells may seem like yet another procedurally generated roguelike game, but after spending some time with it, you'll see that it sets itself apart in a number of different ways. The moment-to-moment gameplay includes exploring a series of interconnected corridors and collecting items and defeating enemies that stand in your way. This is very reminiscent of Metroidvania-style games, as there are a number of secrets to find and plenty of power-ups that can be obtained. As you progress through each run, you'll pick up scrolls that allow you to upgrade your brutality, tactics, and survival, which modify your health and damage output with specific weapons acquired. Number 4. Darkest Dungeon. Darkest Dungeon is a grim, side-scrolling dungeon crawler that puts you in charge of a pre-assembled team of adventurers trying to rid the estate you've inherited of its deadly inhabitants. Each of the dungeons you enter are procedurally generated and filled with a number of traps and unique items to discover, as well as being rife with enemies. As you progress through the dungeons, you're equipped with a torch that is slowly burning out. As the torchlight grows dimmer, your team becomes weaker. There is a risk-reward mechanic at play here that much of the game revolves around. Will you journey deeper into the dungeon with the hopes of coming across valuable treasure, or will you perish at the hands of the many enemies? Number 3. The Binding of Isaac. Created and developed by Edmund McMillen, who also co-created Super Meat Boy, The Binding of Isaac is a top-down roguelike dungeon crawler that shows no mercy. You control Isaac, a young boy who is stripped of all his belongings by his mother in order to protect him from the outside world. Each run begins in the basement as you explore a procedurally generated set of rooms that take inspiration from The Legend of Zelda's dungeon designs and are full of different enemies, loot, and secrets. There are almost 200 unique types of enemies, and each one has a unique attack pattern that must quickly be identified when you enter a room, as there are also many traps and other projectiles that you'll be busy dodging too. There are also almost 550 unique items that can be found and collected that change Isaac's appearance, giving him new abilities. Most abilities are beneficial, but there are a number of items that will actually make your run more difficult. Number 2. Nioh. The penultimate game on our list draws a lot of comparison to the Soulsborne series of games because of its grueling combat and difficult boss encounters, but Nioh differentiates itself with a more offensive style of combat. You are able to seamlessly transition between different stances in battle that affect your damage output. Your high stance offers more damage, while sacrificing speed. Your mid stance offers a more balanced approach during combat, and your low stance favors speed over damage. Reading your enemy and finding the correct time to transition between stances can make or break any encounter. Nioh's boss encounters are where the game really shines and can prove to be extremely difficult for even experienced players, as enemies offer an extremely limited window of opportunity to strike. Understanding the different combat abilities as well as the nuances between all the different types of gear require extensive knowledge of the different stat systems at play. Number 1. Dark Souls. It's no surprise that From Software's notoriously difficult series of games tops our list. Over the past decade, it's hard to imagine a series that poses a more consistent difficulty from beginning to end. From Demon's Souls to the Dark Souls series to Bloodborne and most recently, Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice, these games have famously taught players to get good by learning from their deaths. Each time you die in one of the Soulsborne, Sekiro, games, you often have to retrace your steps, which can be a journey in itself, and fight your way back to the enemy that took you down only to try it once again. Combat is the bread and butter of these games and is difficult to master. Most inexperienced players might approach an enemy hacking and slashing only to get punished time after time until they learn enemy attack patterns. Each encounter is like a puzzle to figure out as you wait for the moment to strike. Each time you die, you're that much smarter, and after hundreds of inevitable deaths, you might actually stand a fighting chance. So this is our today's video. If you like our video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel or hit the bell icon. We will meet again with another interesting topic. Till then, stay safe and stay happy.